I am the audit chair and also the finance committee chair for the Shared Learning Trust, which is a multi-academy trust in Luton. We have 3 primary schools and 2 secondary schools, and I became involved after attending an event with Academy Ambassadors. Was really interested in giving back, doing something with my audit and finance experience, and this was one of the ways that I thought I could do it. So I think what motivated me to become involved was, well, actually I have 3 passions: health, education and housing, because I know that those 3 things would either make or break your future and the future of a young person. So I don't have any children, but I know that education really helped me and my siblings. And for me, being able to use the skills that I've learned in my career in the area of education was a really powerful decider for me. Being on the board of a multi-academy trust, you're not there in the day-to-day. I'm not doing the chalk and talk, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a head teacher. But seeing an aha moment in one of the committees, or seeing an aha moment when one of the senior leaders gets and understands why some of the performance issues that we've been talking about, how it matters, or how some of the internal controls that we're asking about, how they actually underpin and give really good foundation to the work that they are doing. That is one of the really, I think that's the greatest joy that I have. I know it sounds kind of geekish, but that's me. I love good governance. I love seeing good systems in place. My brain works like I see strategy and I like to see patterns. And when our senior leaders can understand that the patterns that we're putting in place as a multi-academy trust board help them deliver the great education for students, that's really engaging for me. 1, do your homework. It is an unpaid role. And when it says, oh, you'll be required about 1 day a term or 2 days, do not believe the hype. If you are going to get engaged, 1, you need to walk the patch, which means that you have to spend a little bit more time in your first year getting up to speed, especially if you don't come from a background in education. You don't have to have a background in education. In fact, sometimes it probably helps if you don't, because you'll ask what you might think is a stupid question, but it's probably on the mind of 3 or 4 people on the board. So 1, do your homework, find a school that you're either passionate about or a multi-academy trust that matches your values. That is so important. Secondly, don't be backwards in coming forward. So if you do get a role on a multi-academy trust, as I said, ask the stupid question. It's not stupid. Also try to ask the double why question. So someone will say something, you'll have a presentation, and you'll ask the first question, well, why? And then they'll probably give you an answer, and that's when you need to ask the second, but why? Because so the double why usually helps you understand what the main theme is. And thirdly, always, always, always give yourself some space to read your papers, go into the meeting knowledgeable. It is such a frustration if you have executives who have spent a lot of time putting papers together and you rock up with a view of, oh, I'll just wing it. It's a much more engaged conversation if you've read the papers. And it also means that after the meeting, you can probably 1, get through the agenda items a lot faster. And secondly, you can have a lot more in-depth conversation so that at the end of the meeting, you can take that time to say, okay, how could we have done the meeting better? So you're not necessarily talking about the content, but you're talking about the process of running your meetings. Yeah, okay, bonus 1, enjoy. Things to think about, know that you're doing it for the enjoyment. You're not paid, but the enjoyment that you get in being able to impact the lives of hundreds, sometimes thousands of young people is out of this world. I'll be honest, sometimes I'm very glad, other times sort of sit there, especially if you're dealing with an issue of, say, a safeguarding issue, or you're hearing fellow colleagues in other multi-academy trusts talking about safeguarding issue or a finance issue or the fact that this is yet another public sector area where the government's asking you to do more with less, and with the Multi Academy Trust, if you're challenged over how big should we be, how big is big enough, should we be taking on another school that may be challenged, or do we just go after low-hanging fruit? All of those questions are what strategy calls wicked questions. They don't have one right answer. If you've got great people around the table who understand that they're wicked questions, wicked not as in wicked, but wicked as in the sort of no right answer. If you've got people who understand that, you can have some of the most interesting conversation, learn a lot about yourself and other people. Where you haven't, it can sometimes be frustrating. So I would also say, in your due diligence, also find out who you're sitting on the board with, their background, try and understand what makes them tick, and spend some time. Don't just jump at the first one. If it's right for you, fine. But if it's not, spend some time and find something that's great for you. Because I have, and it's been a blessing and fun.